Hello everyone and welcome back to Embody the Roar Tarot. I'm Elisa and this is Charlie who's joining me on her nap today. And it is going to be a doozy of a period starting on Friday, April 21st, because we have Mercury in retrograde. Now, while this happens a few times each year, what's interesting about this retrograde period is that Mercury is going to be doing so very close to Uranus, which is the planet of upheaval and change. So not only will we experience the shifts of Mercury and the shadow aspects of it, which will look like technological lapses, maybe delays, maybe we're feeling especially confused and frenetic. We're also going to be feeling I wouldn't say tyranny, but the shifts and adaptations of Uranus, which is all about upheaval and change. So what does this mean for us? Because it sounds kind of scary, huh? Well, essentially it means that it's going to be a really beautiful time for us to look inward. It's going to be a time for us to recognize our habits, our worldviews, and all the things that might be a bit rigid at this point, which could use some movement and change. And so I know during this period, I've been already hearing in the pre-retrograde period of people talking about feeling like a roller coaster, like they're on a roller coaster ride, or experiencing complexity, or maybe just emotions that they weren't aware of. So it is a time to treat yourself with child gloves, and it is a time that we can use some consistency and some grounding more so than ever, because it's going to feel like a roller coaster ride, okay? Now, fret not, this is not forever, and as we go through the retrograde period, it's a really good time to shake us up and to help us understand where we need to go, because where we've been might not necessarily, the same ways we got there might not be the same way that we get to where we want to go. So it's a really beautiful period to get to what's important to you and what you need during this time, and really just radically accept that things are going to be shifting and changing and kicking up lots of dirt for us to reflect on and be able to implement some changes in our lives. That's just the beauty of life. There's always some astrological event. We don't have to freak out, but awareness of it is helpful so we don't, self-destruct or self-flagellate during this period. So today, I'm just going to be pulling some cards. I want to just help us understand, where we might have come from in this period, like what might be kicked up for us, what we might be sensing presently, and then what the future has for us following this retrograde period. So I wasn't necessarily called to do a Celtic cross or anything like that. Spirit just told me to pull some cards. And so I'm really excited because it feels like today's message is one that I'm going to want to hear as well. That's the sense I'm getting. So I've already meditated over the cards and I've already shuffled them. So I'm just going to see what energy comes out when it comes to where we're coming from, from this period. Okay, so I'm seeing from where we're coming from, it's the 5 of Cups, and it's actually in reverse. So if you can see this, the 5 of Cups in reverse. So it feels like we might be coming out of a time of feeling like we've lost or we've released something in our lives, okay? So if it was upright, I would say, okay, you're still going through that release, but it's almost like you've already allowed the knowledge, the wisdom, the insight of that period to kind of be implemented, which is a beautiful place to start. Now, let's say you're still feeling like you're kind of going through this loss, right? Because the 5 of Cups, I always think about 5 is the number of change, it's the number of challenge, and Cups are all about our emotions and our creativity and our feelings, okay? So it's likely that you've gone through an emotional period and you're coming out of that, which is really, really beautiful. I know for myself, I'm in the process right now of planning a wedding, and it's so exciting, but part of this is also recognizing that there are some relationships and people in my life and in my family that won't be there. And so I have been shedding and releasing all of that and recognizing, what's important, which is that at least the people that I love and my chosen family will be there. But it's not without its devastation. And so I would just encourage you during this period, be really kind. You might have some leftover emotion. It does not mean that you are still going through the pains and toils of this. Sometimes emotions come up that we don't expect. Like, even though I've gone through these challenges and these relationship shifts throughout my life, and I know better, and I'm resilient, I can still mourn those. So I would just encourage you during this period, allow yourself to truly mourn that. Now, a card just flew out, and I can't help but acknowledge that. I don't know if you saw that, but it just flew out on its own, and it's the Four of Swords reversed. So lots of reversals today. Okay, so the Four of Swords reversed. So, really with the Four of Swords, it's like you've essentially gone through a challenge. You've gone through needing to learn how to nurture yourself, because this is really, in the traditional tarot, it looks like four swords hovering above a figure who needs to rest and just restore. And again, it's really telling me that you've gone through it, okay? And you've done what you needed to restore. But I will say this card, I think, for some of you, it might be encouraging you to just continue to seek that rest. Now, what's beautiful about Mercury in retrograde is it is a time where we don't need to be manifesting or sowing seeds or working too hard. Now, why? Well, with Uranus and with Mercury not stationed direct, then, it's going to be a bit of a challenge to get things moving, the locomotion, so to speak. So it's not really a time of productivity or doing. It's really a time of reflection and rest, okay? It doesn't mean that you can't do things, right? But it just means don't drive too hard. This might be a really good period of going inward, because what's beautiful about this card, as you can tell, it's like she's found some sanctuary, so to speak. So allow yourself that level of sanctuary. And, just know that all of that rest will pay off. I oftentimes like to think about rest as giving us the capacity for more, right? I need to rest in order to be able to kind of clear away all the old stuff, allow myself to process it so I can take in more of life. So rest is actually quite productive if you think about it. Now, let's look at what presently you might be going through during this Mercury in retrograde period. What will be coming up for my listeners during this Mercury in retrograde period? Okay, so I love this. Two cards came out, so I'm going to honor that. One of them is the Four of Wands, which shows these two beautiful women who are dancing. And the other is the Wheel, okay? So during this period, Four of Wands, I really love that you're coming out of this rest and restore period. You're finding yourself kind of able to reroute yourself in what's important. With the Four of Wands, it really, I'm seeing two fours, and fours are all about stability, security, really our roots, our ability to nurture and take care of ourselves and platform. It's kind of like a steady foundation. So you're leaving behind what was unsteady. And oftentimes we experience that emotionally, right? With the Four of Swords, but you're stepping into new ways of feeling rooted. I would say rooted and booted. Okay, rooted and booted and ready to go. And during this period, you're also with the Wheel going to be experiencing some level of synthesis. Okay, so the Wheel is really beautiful. It's all about turning the hands of fate and taking risks and challenges. So with whatever you're doing, you're feeling grounded enough to take some challenges, take some risks, put yourself out there. So really with this Mercury in retrograde period, it might actually be creating a bit of frenetic energy to kind of get you going. I keep seeing this locomotion, this railroad car kind of going and ringing, its bell. So I really see that you're not only going to find a firm foundation during this period, and maybe by acknowledging, what's not getting kicked up, what's super important for you, what makes you feel grounded during this period, and then potentially taking a chance at something and recognizing you're kind of on top of the world. You get to choose your fate. You get to choose what comes next. And so if you're focused on what's grounded and what's consistent and what's reliable, from that place, you can actually call in more, okay? Now, 10 is also the number of completion. So I'm kind of seeing, maybe you're leaving behind what was unsteady to create what is steady so that you can start getting moving, okay? But I am during this period seeing a lot of grounding, a lot of reflection, and really taking risks in your life. So let's continue pulling, and I want to see what's coming up for you in the future with this retrograde period. So I wonder what this is going to usher in for viewers during this Mercury in retrograde period, Spirit. Oh, wow. I don't know if you saw that. That was quite a jump. I love. Okay, so we have the Hermit. Now the Hermit, I don't know if Virgo is in your chart at all, but Virgo is the card that is the astrology sign aligned with the Hermit. It's all about going inward to really shine your light and to find your light, okay? So the Hermit really means that there might be a time of, I'm going to see for some of you studying, right? Because the ninth house of astrology is all about study, travel. So you might during this period start to feel like you are actually ready to really see what really aligns in terms of like broader expansion for yourself, because the Hermit is all about going inward to really see what matters, okay? It's also a card of study, okay? So you might be taking on a new course or even a new degree if that's something you're exploring. I'm seeing for some of you this might be a new career, but part of this is really seeing you go inward, okay, during this period. So you are starting to see what really matters to you and starting to cultivate and call forth more for yourself is what I'm seeing. I just really love this card, and Virgo knows how to make it happen. So that energy is going to be really beautiful in creating a diligence for you. So I want to get a little bit more on that, just in terms of, for some of you, this might be looking at school or looking at new programs or new travel. What else, Spirit, do you have for the future for viewers around this Mercury and retrograde period? Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. So we have the Three of Wands, which hopefully you can see that. Okay. This is really beautiful because this is this woman kind of looking between the torches with her surfboard and where she wants to go next. And then we have the Ten of Cups, okay, which is beautiful and very gay looking, which I absolutely love. So with the Three of Wands, really this is a card of breakthroughs. I really see that whatever you went through in the past is long gone, okay? You're starting to recognize what really matters, what grounds you, what keeps you consistent, where you want to go, what do you want to do now with this energy that you've cultivated for yourself, going inward towards study. But I also feel like since Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius, this is a time of breakthroughs. And this card, the Three of Wands, is also all about reflecting on really what matters and what you know now. It's kind of like after the storm, what do you know now? What do you want to cultivate? Because wands are all about our passions, our creativity, how we use and express our spirit. And 3, it's kind of amazing because that number is really the birth of something new, okay? So 3s are all about newness, creativity, curiosity, inquisitiveness, okay? And what's great is not only do we have a major arcana with the Hermit, which is all about going inward and figuring out what matters and looking at ways that you can expand. 3 of Wands, getting out there, using this knowledge to go after more. And then 10 of Cups, so really beautiful energy. So 10 of Cups is really the completion of everything that fulfills us, okay? So in this card, you see a happy family, you see people in contentment and joy, and kind of riding this beautiful rainbow that's all over here. So really, it's like you're finding what truly gives you meaning, happiness, joy, contentment, and fulfillment. I really love this, and this is why these Mercury and retrograde periods are so powerful, okay? Because they allow us to recognize what matters to us. And really this message is beautiful for me as well because it's speaking out my own journey, like I said, of my own mourning of like, who is not going to be there at my wedding, of, recognizing what is important, and, of looking at, ultimate fulfillment. And so I just encourage you, if you're going through any relational things, that's what I'm sensing, which is why I shared my story. Just know you're going to come to your cup of fulfillment. You're going to come towards what matters to you. And you're going to really figure out what fulfillment is, because whatever was in the past is gone. That energy needed to exist so that you can get where you are. And as I know from my own personal journey with love, it's like I had to kiss a lot of frogs to get to my princess, okay? And so I just really encourage you during this period, use this material as ways to go deeper, really create more depth and richness of understanding for yourself with the Hermit, with the breakthroughs that you're getting with the Three of Wands, so that you really figure out and can step into abundance and what matters. So thank you so much for tuning in. This was a really beautiful reading. It was just a quickie for you because I know that this period is a doozy. So buckle up and make sure to be meditative and grounded during this period. Just remember, it's all in your benefit. Everything you are experiencing is for your ultimate good. All right, I love you. Goodbye.